quite a scene last night, not here, but over in Turkey, the Turkish Super League. An amazing moment at the end of a game. If I can just explain what happened, it was a match between Ankaragucu and Rizespor. Ankaragucu were winning it. They ended up drawing 1-1, and there were red cards in the game. Suffice to say, the president of Ankaragucu was not happy one bit by the refereeing performance that he witnessed on the night. Strutted onto the pitch at the end and promptly smacked the referee in the face, knocked him to the ground and damaged his eye. The referee, who goes by the name of Halil Meller. Anyway, all hell broke loose, and Mr. Meller even took a couple of kicks to the head when he was on the ground. Not kicks from the president, but somebody else who got caught up in the melee and decided to join in as well. Koca, this morning, the president has been arrested, so he is now detained by police. And the Turkish Minister of Justice, Yilmaz Tunç, has said a judicial investigation has been launched against all of those responsible. But here we have a top club official, Simon, walking on and literally laying into the referee.
Yes, appalling.
Does it add any more perspective to the debates around respect to officials in this country? Not that I'm suggesting for one moment that a high-level official of a Premier League club would go on and do anything remotely similar.
No.
But in general terms, Simon, respect being called into question again.
I mean, this is disgraceful. I mean, this is beyond consideration and contemplation of how anyone should behave, let alone somebody that's the chairman, owner, president of his football club. First of all, he should be charged with assault because he's punched somebody, and that's the nature of the beast, and that's the consequences. He shouldn't be anywhere near a football pitch. Look, we all have exasperations, we all have frustrations, we all want to scream, shout and holler at decisions that are made for us and against us in circumstances that are disappointing. I've been disappointed with referees, I've been disappointed with fellow owners in circumstances and had altercations and rows. You can't run onto a football pitch as a, let alone a player, as a manager or an owner, and punch an official in the face and see that as something that has any form, irrespective of what decisions the referee made. It's a football match. I know that this part of the world, we can remember Souness running on the pitch and sticking a flag in the ground, primarily because he was told he was a cripple by the opposing side because of his heart problems. Yeah. And the oversight of that and the reaction from those fans. And we know that it's a hotbed of football passions. But come on. You can't attack a referee. I mean, he's walloped him. I mean, did you see the referee after it? Great big black eye. He then kicks him on the floor. Who does this fella think he is? Yeah. He should get the full weight of the law in terms of assault and whatever the law is in that country for assault. And surely to God,
lifetime ban.
He's got to be banned from football. How that sets the club up, whether he's an economic benefit, the economic force behind that football club and funds it, and that puts it in a difficult position. But he can't be near football. He's done himself and ultimately brought his club, his players, his manager and everything around it into shame. He's brought Turkish football into shame. It will be used now as an example of how people behave in certain parts of the world. But we know this happens in South America. We've seen this before. We've seen altercations between fans, players and officials in South American matches going back years gone past. But and again, that should be vilified. This is appalling. Would I ever see that manifesting itself in English football? Do I think we need to say that this is an example that we could never get to in English football? I don't think we'll ever get to that in English professional football.
Apparently we see it at grassroots level. We've seen it at that level. But when you get to the top flight, we've heard stories about such a moment as this one. Yeah. But at grassroots level, it's a long way off from happening in the Premier League.
This is an elite league. It may not be the greatest league. It's the league that spawned a team that's beaten Man United in the Champions League. So there's recognisable sides. It's a recognisable league. I don't know these two clubs. They're mid-table clubs, aren't they? But the point is, it's appalling behaviour. Appalling behaviour.
Yeah, I mean, we all remember, even when you consider something that you could consider came remotely close to this kind of thing. When, not even remotely, but I'm mentioning it for a reason. When Paulo Di Canio got involved with the referee all these years ago and pushed him to the ground, it's a talking point that never leaves those who were involved. And of course, Di Canio is constantly reminded of it and responded in this way when we brought it up.
There was a challenge between Patrick Vieira from Arsenal and Winnie Young, my teammates, used to play with me there. I went there, honestly, to try to split them and talking to Patrick, because Patrick, don't do this. I remember that Martin Keown is a good guy, but in the field was terrible. He hated me too. So we were nearly always fight, but it was good. I like this approach, you know, on the field. And he came and tried to split me and Vieira by using his elbow. His elbow arrived straight to my nose. You know, in an instant, the anger went to my brain. Instinctively, I tried to grab his neck and try to kick his leg, you know, instinctively. Because
he took his bloody eye out.
No, because in this moment, for me, it was like if it was a football street football, you know. I wasn't treated really well by him. Obviously, what's happened later is absolutely wrong. We have to cancel and tell the young people that is the most bad example about sportsmanship, you know, the worst you can do. But Paul Alcock, in my opinion, made a mistake, because a top referee, what doing now, maybe in the past it was more difficult. Rather than arrive in front of you when you are fighting
in a flashpoint,
a flashpoint with a red card,
stand back.
You should say, okay, 30, 40 seconds, come here. You have more time to relax. You know, I saw the red card here instinctively go away. And to be honest, I don't want to argue in the way he fell down.
So, I mean, to an extent, that was on your podcast. Paolo's still putting up a case for the defence.
Well, he was, but I went on to say, well, whatever you say, Paolo, doesn't excuse you put your hands on a referee, whether you think he fell over lightly and made a four-act play of going backwards, or whether you think that he should have stood back and given it time to decant, literally, not decanio. Then that's fine, but you can't raise your hands to a referee.
No.
And you see him acknowledging the fact that ultimately it was the worst thing that he could have done. And he was trying to say to young players, never get into that territory. I mean, that's 25 years ago, isn't it? Best part of.
I mean, it's the closest we've ever come to kind of physical contact between player and official, club person and official in this country, in the top flight. I mean, as I say, we've seen it at grassroots level.
You will see strong exchanges of views in the behind the scenes when sometimes managers have gone into referees' offices. There has been not physical ramifications, but there's certainly been some extreme verbal interactions and altercations. So you can, visible to the public, very rarely.
I mean, there are
altercations behind the scenes.
We saw a fan some time ago, a Birmingham City fan, actually run onto the pitch and smack Grealish. I mean, the moments like that happen, insane moments. But this guy
saw it happen to Ian Walker, didn't you, in goal for Leicester? Yeah. He conked the fellow in the end, didn't he?
Yeah. I think as long as this fella is seen to pay a heavy price, he's a politician.
Well, yeah.
Faruk Koca. I mean, I think his days of being in politics could be over, let alone in football. Yeah. And he'll be a wealthy man, because they have to have a degree of wealth to be president of those clubs in Turkey.
Well, absolutely. I mean, he has got himself, hopefully, a lifetime ban.
Yeah.
And that was because of what? Because a referee made a bad decision. I mean, I don't know who you think you are. I genuinely don't know who he thinks he is, that he can go on a football field.
Yeah.
We all have visions of wanting to deal with someone that's offended us. But in a civilised society, irrespective of the emotion that football brings, who does he think he is?
No, exactly.
Who does he think he is? Hopefully he'll get to find out the consequences of who he thinks he is.
Yeah.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.